Hi, it's John here with another of my videos on the financial support available to you and your business during the coronavirus crisis. And today's video is about the help available for the self-employed. Now, it's correct as of today, the 27th of March, and much of it is based on the announcement by the Chancellor last night. So the first bit of this really is just to be clear on who is deemed self-employed. Now, I think self-employment is quite an open definition, and different people have a different view of that. You might have come across it if you go to get a mortgage or bank loan or even HMRC. Everyone has a slightly different definition. Now, for the purpose of this, self-employed are people who fill in the self-employment section of the personal tax return. Now, what that means is that directors of limited companies are not self-employed because they fill in the employment section and also put their dividends in. Similarly, landlords are not self-employed because there's a separate section for UK property. Self-employed is effectively for sole traders and partnerships running a trade. So, what's available as financial support from the government for self-employed people? Well, the biggest thing available is the fact that the government will pay you a grant to cover up to 3 months of profits. Now, the way they're doing this is they're going to pay up to 80% of those profits for 3 months for March, April and May 2020. The way they'll calculate that 80% is by looking at your average monthly profit in your last 3 annual tax returns. If you haven't done 3, they'll use what you have. And they'll basically average that out to get a monthly profit that you've made, and they'll pay you 80% of that. As I say, they'll pay you it across March, April and May, but it won't be paid until June 2020. So it's a cash flow wait for it. Now, the amount is capped at £2,500 per month. Therefore, the total is currently capped at £7,500. If you haven't earned more than that, or that's 80% of your profits is more than £2,500, the motion gets £2,500. You'll get less if your profits are lower, and therefore be calculated on that. Now, one of the important things is over who is actually eligible for this. Like I say, you must be self-employed, but basically you must have done a 2019 personal tax return. So basically, you must have been self-employed before the 5th of April 2019. This is partly to stop people suddenly declaring them self-employed today, but it does actually remove a lot of people who've been trading for nearly a year. Now, on that tax return, more than 50% of your total income must have been from self-employment. This, if you think about it, to stop people who have a hobby business from actually claiming something. So if you had a £100,000 salary and sold a few things on the side for £1,000, you don't get any of this grant. It's purely for people who are generally kind of self-employed and that's their main source of income. Similarly, to be eligible, your profits must be less than £50,000 on your 2018-19 tax return. If they were over £50,000 in that year, you're able to look at the average over those 3 years. And if that's less than £50,000, you are eligible. So if you think about that and stand back, who isn't eligible for this grant? That does mean directors of limited companies, it means landlords, but also it means the newly self-employed, and also those with profits of over £50,000 per year. Okay. Now, as I said, this will be a cash grant. It will actually be HMRC will work out automatically whether you are eligible because they have your tax return. If you are late on filing your 2019 tax return, you are currently late and there have been fines for that, but they'll give you another 4 weeks to get it in from now and still get the grant. Once they've assessed who's eligible and calculated it, as I say, they'll pay it to you in one lump sum in June 2020. Like that could be up to £7,500, but also there is initial cash flow for you there. Which actually brings you on to, I guess, the next thing about actually what help there is for your cash flow. Now, what the government is allowing you to do at the moment is you can defer any VAT payments. If you're VAT registered, any VAT payments due between the 20th of March 2020 and 30th of June 2020 do not have to be paid until 31st of March 2021. Now, they're not giving you the money, they're simply giving you a delay until you pay it to ease your cash flow, but there's some help there. Similarly, any income tax payments on accounts you're due to make on the 31st of July 2020 does not need to be paid until 31st of January 2021. Again, it is a deferral. And also HMRC are going to be more lenient over time to pay arrangements. These have always existed. This is where if you're unable to pay any of your taxes, whether that's income tax, VAT or PAYE, you can actually ring HMRC and negotiate a time to pay, i.e. either to pay instalments or just delay the payments. There'll be more lenience on that. The other thing in terms of helping cash flow is that the government has instructed mortgage lenders to allow people who ask to have a 3-month holiday on their mortgage payments on a residential mortgage. It doesn't include any buy-to-lets or commercials, purely residential. Again, it's a holiday. You'll still owe the money. There'll actually be interest charged on that as well. However, it frees a bit of cash in these kind of turbulent times. Now, as a self-employed person, it may be you have business premises. If you do, you'll actually be eligible for another grant. And that grant is based on if the rateable value of your premises is less than £15,000 and you are getting small business rates relief, you could be eligible for a grant of £10,000 paid directly to you by your local authority. Again, this will be done automatically by your local authority. If you are registered for business rates and qualify for small business rates relief, they'll have your details, know who you are, know you're eligible, and they will pay you that in April 2020. The other help available to you is the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, and this could be used to ease that cash flow while waiting for your grant for self-employment coming in June 2020. What this scheme does is that the government effectively has kind of backed the scheme to help you pass the credit with the bank. The government will also pay any interest on the loan for the first 12 months if you do borrow anything. If you do look at one of these, talk to the lenders. I mean, first off, be your high street bank. There are other lenders available as well. You do actually need to have a business bank account to be eligible. But in terms of it, just make sure over what guarantees are required. Generally with these loans, the idea is if it actually cannot be repaid, is on you and your assets are at risk. The government are backing it. They're actually backing the lender, not you. However, there has been some criticism of that in this week since the details were announced. So some of the banks are actually backing down on that and not making you guarantee it on your assets. So do take a look at that. So, to summarise what's available to you, the most generous thing, I guess, is the fact the government will pay up to, for 3 months up to 80% of your annual profits to you. And they'll do that actually even if you carry on working as well. So it could be generally very generous there. They'll also, if you have premises, they'll pay you £10,000 if you qualify for small business rates relief. Aside from that, there's a number of schemes to help you with your cash flow, allowing you to defer your VAT payment, defer your income tax payment, perhaps negotiate a time to pay tax with HMRC, but also defer mortgage payments. And if you're really stuck, there is kind of a loan scheme. Now, I hope that was useful. I will continue to update these videos as and when new rules and regulations come out. Like I say, this is correct as of the 27th of March, but we're adding more videos as we go along. Now, if you'd like any more help, please do get in touch. Please use the details below, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you very much. I hope that was helpful. Cheers.